What's going on, everyone? Episode 18 of a 30 to 10 podcast is here. I'm Nate. That's Brian here to my right. Happy Tuesday to you guys as we're recording this. We hope you guys are doing well. And we might as well get into it because we have a lot to discuss. Today across the NFL is cut day, which means a lot of NFL players who have played a lot in the preseason get cut. Whether it's young names, veteran names, a lot of people across the board will be available to be signed today. And for our New York Football Giants, we do get to see a lot of names go. It goes from, I believe, we started with 90 players, right, Brian? And then we had to cut it tonight to 53 players. So
yep,
we'll discuss that in just a bit. But first off, as always, my guy, I gotta ask you, how you doing? How you feeling today?
I'm doing great. We're off to the best gambling start that a person could have for the beginning of the college football season. 3-0 on Saturday, 3 big wins. So hopefully that rolls over to Thursday. Then we can keep alive for Saturday.
You did not pick Georgia Tech to win. No way you predicted that.
Plus 10.
Wow.
Points.
Very
Georgia Tech
nice.
plus 10, and then they just won outright. So that's where it was. The spread saved me all night.
Okay, that makes sense. Like, no way you picked Georgia Tech.
Plus 10, Nevada. I live bet Nevada plus 11. And then I did Delaware State plus 39.5. All 3 covered. No problems.
Delaware State?
Yeah, over Hawaii at like midnight.
Yeah, you got problems.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Jimmy's problem.
Well, talking about college football real quick, your thoughts on Florida State, because you gotta be kidding me, man. You go to Ireland, you're the favorites, and you lose to Georgia Tech, a bunch of engineers. Come on.
I mean, like, at least the Florida State fans were in Ireland, so they could drown their sorrows pretty fast. There's a pub every other block. But I'm just thinking the poor Florida State fan are like, all right, you know what? I've always wanted to go to Ireland. Florida State's over there. The 10th best team in the country, going up against a loser in Georgia Tech. Should be an easy game. We'll go over there, have a nice, fun vacation, watch the game, and then go out and celebrate afterwards. And then at the end of the game, they're sitting there like, we just wasted $5,000 to watch our team lose to engineers. Like, there was no fun after that. They might have just gone back to they might have just got on a plane and gone home.
Yeah, it was a sad, unfortunate game for fans who went to Ireland or are from Ireland and are Seminoles fans for some odd reason. But
if you're from Ireland and you're a Florida State fan, like, didn't have like family or something that like went to the school, like, what are you doing?
You got issues if that's the case. But
yeah.
Welcome back, college football. We're glad you're back, and hopefully this podcast will be mostly a Notre Dame podcast. So once I think they kick off Saturday, right, Brian? If not mistaken.
Saturday in Texas A&M in College State. Huge game for Notre Dame. Huge. Probably one of the biggest opening games we've had in a while.
Okay. Remind me towards the end of the show. We'll talk a little bit more about them, and we'll try to cover them on Thursday as well, or whenever our next episode will be. So, thank you, college football, for an eventful week 0. We're looking forward to the official week 1 start this upcoming weekend. But let's go ahead and talk about the Giants and the NFL as a whole, because obviously a lot of cuts, a lot of discussion that we have to talk about today as well. We'll go ahead and start with the Giants-Jets game that they played this past weekend. Unfortunately, the Giants lost their second straight preseason game. They lost to Houston last week, and they lost to Jets the week before, and then they lost to the Jets this past weekend. The score was 10-6. Not a very offensive day from the Giants, but hey, we're not surprised because this team is trash offensively for like the past few seasons, so no surprise here. We're the only team that didn't throw a touchdown pass in the preseason whatsoever officially after this Jets game. So we're, oh my God, that's
not
sad.
Good.
No,
not
a sad fact. That's like one of the worst facts to even be related with. But against New York, the Giants starting lineup was no starters whatsoever outside of John Michael Schmitz. Tommy
Who got hurt?
That is true.
Why is John Michaels? If there's no starters in the game, why is JMS even out there on the field? Makes no sense. I guess that logic, Malik Neighbors should be out there. Hyatt should be out there. That's what that means to me. If you're not going to have starters out there,
I think because JMS missed time during the preseason, that's kind of why. But that's
not a great reason for me. Like, sorry. A lot of guys missed time during the preseason. Daniel Jones missed time during camp. He should be starting out there then, by that logic.
Yeah, fair. But yeah,
you're risking injuries on a position that you have emphasized you want to stay healthy and have all 5 guys start 17 games. They're going to start John Michael Schmidt out there. Like, I like Dable and company, but this is probably one of their dumbest moves, and it almost really bit them in the ass when he got hurt.
So you don't see any reason why they shouldn't have. They should have started him, even with the injuries.
I really don't see why he should have been out there. You can get that in camp and stuff or practice.
Yeah. Well, bad luck for him as he got his ankle rolled up, so that was fluffing great. But he'll be back week 1, which is 2 weeks away. Thank God. He should be fine. But starting lineup was DeVito, Azudu, Kubas, JMS, Jalen Mayfield, and Evan Neal. We'll talk about Evan Neal in a bit as well. A lot of discussion about him. Dante Miller, Isaiah Hodgins, Allen Robinson the second, Jack Stoll, and Jacob Johnson, the fullback, was your starting lineup. So JMS, as we talked about before, missed time this summer because of a shoulder injury, was healthy to go this past week, and then suffered that ankle injury, got rolled up, unfortunately, in the first half, did not return. So Austin Schlottman replaced him at center, and he was not good whatsoever.
No.
And he wasn't the only injury for John Michael Schmitz. That was for New York. Evan Neal, first game since November 9th for New York, left in the game with the second quarter, also with an ankle injury, was listed as questionable to return. And once he went down, even when he went down, or before he went down, it was already a mess. The Giants allowed 8 sacks the whole game, and DeVito went down, I think, 3 straight times in the second quarter.
Yeah.
It's just offensively, it's like, I was like, what in the fudge are we doing? Brian Dable did call plays, though, which is promising. Obviously, that's going to be the expectation heading into this season. You've reiterated on multiple times that it's, great. It's a good thing that Dable is calling the plays instead of Mike Kafka. It's just, honestly, I wish I could be positive with you, Brian. I really wish I could, but there's just not a lot of positives from this offense. I mean, Joshua Kelly led the team in rushing. No, it was actually DeVito because he had 48 yards rushing. Kelly had 40. John Giles had that one hurdle highlight play where he hurdled over a Jets defender. There's really nothing positive here.
The only positive you can make out of it is that most of these guys are going to get cut or be like third string buried on the depth chart, so we'll never have to see them again.
Mm-hmm.
That's the really positive you can see out of this.
Keyword is already cut. And, as of today, they're already been cut, most of these players. And, we can already we'll talk about the names right now, and we'll dive into it in just a bit. But out of that starting lineup we just mentioned, Marcus McKeithen was gone. He wasn't starting in this day's game, but I know he got cut. Dante
Robinson
Miller,
and Hodgins are gone.
Miller's gone. So 3 of the guys from that starting lineup on Saturday or Sunday, I forgot what the game was, but they were cut. Jack Stoll was cut as well. Jacob Johnson was cut as well. So 5 of those guys from that Jets game is, from our knowledge, is not on the roster. And we'll dive into more of that in just a bit. Defensively, 10 points allowed, obviously impressive. Starting lineup for that game was Boogie Basham, Timmy Horn, Casey Rogers, Benton Whitley, KJ Cloyd, who was a notable name in that Jets game. Darian Beavers, David Long Jr., Alex Johnson, Breon Borders, Darnay Holmes, and Clayton Isbell. KJ Cloyd, he's notable because he had 16 tackles against the Jets. A very impressive performance by him. Signed with the Giants 2 weeks ago. Played with the Vikings to start his NFL career. But New York had a lot of injuries in that game against the Jets. We talked about JMS. We talked about Evan Neal. Jalen Mayfield got a lower leg injury. Darnay Holmes had a neck injury suffered as well. And then Timmy Horn had an Achilles injury. That defensive lineman is also released from the team. So anything to say defensively for this team, Brian, by any chance, against that Jets game, or just anything at all?
The only thing I had to say was the rush they had. Israel, forgot his last name, starts with an A. Like really long. Yeah, that one rush in for a touchdown was maybe some of the worst defense I've ever seen in my life. Like, Number 30 of the Giants has him like wrapped up, and he just spins off him. Basically, breaks 5 tackles to score a touchdown. Like, what are we doing? Like, are we not teaching tackling? Like, that guy should be down for a 5-yard gain. Instead, he breaks off for a 40-yard touchdown. What are we doing?
Ugh. Yeah, there was some poor tackling by the Giants from what I saw looking back at the game. So I was just like, he's. Um, I was looking at some breaking news as well. The Tennessee Titans have cut cornerback Caleb Farley. Notable name because, well, the Giants could use a corner. So let's just honestly, just screw the Jets game. Last preseason game, injuries happen. That's like the main thing from this game was just injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And especially to two notable guys like a Evan Neal and the JMS. You had to pretty much pray that they're healthy for week 1 because even our thoughts on Neal are a bit shaky, of course, as at the moment. He's not going to start whatsoever in week 1, but he needs to be healthy because we need depth. And, he's still a 7th overall pick that the Giants drafted like a few years ago. So he needs to be healthy and, ready to go in case something happens. But as of JMS, that's the main concern for me before we get into these cuts because he is the starting center and he needs, even though it's more than likely he'll be healthy week 1, it is a bit concerning, right? That he did get hurt. And you just said it earlier that you didn't agree that he should have played against this Jets game, but because of the time he missed this summer with that shoulder injury, that's why we're sitting here discussing that. So, but yeah, alrighty, let's just get right into the cuts. Woke up around 8:15 Pacific time today. Went right to Twitter to check on who the Giants cut. A lot of notable names for this Giants team got cut, and we might as well start with the names we just mentioned. Isaiah Hodgins, first off to start. Brian, when you saw that New York signed him from the practice squad from the Bills, did you think of it of anything before we saw what happened with him in 2022, or your
No,
thoughts?
I thought it was a depth move. Like, all right, this team doesn't really have a wide receiver. He's familiar with the system, understands what Brian Dable is trying to run. Maybe it's just kind of like throwing stuff against the wall, seeing if it sticks. That's kind of what I thought it was. And,
Mhm.
it turned out pretty well that season. We'll always remember the big playoff game they'll have against the Vikings. It'll be a great trivia question one day of who was their leading receivers, Isaiah Hodgins. But outside of that, he kind of had an uneventful Giant career. So, I'm sad to see him go because of what he did for, in that Minnesota game. But he wasn't really making much of an impact. Like, I had him on the roster as the wide receiver 7. So, like, he wasn't seeing the field regardless. So, it's sad because of the memories, but, like, not going to affect the team whatsoever.
Yeah, I remember when we signed him, I was like, okay, just a weird ass practice squad player. Didn't think much of him, but
Mm-hmm.
he burst onto the scene, man, and he was phenomenal when he was here with New York. Finished the 2022 season with 33 catches, 351 yards, 4 touchdowns in 8 games. Had that notable game against Minnesota that we'll always remember. In the regular season with 12 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown. His 4 touchdowns came in the last 5 weeks of the regular season. So he was just an absolute beast for us. And then he had that 9-catch, 105-yard performance in the wild card round against Minnesota and a touchdown as well. And that was like, to me, that was like, okay, we have something here. He can,
Yeah.
possibly be a very underrated wide receiver too in the following years to come. But last year
Mm-hmm.
was just a big downhill and how his performance went because he had that 1 touchdown against Arizona in week 2 and kind of just
Fell off
fell
a
off.
cliff.
Yeah, and is it to his fault? To an extent, quarterback play obviously crap, but at the same time, he didn't do himself any favors either. Plus, you had Wandale Robinson and Jalen Hyde and Darius Slayton, so it was kind of like
Mm-hmm.
there's no really room for him to be like he was the year before. And heading into the season, if I'm not mistaken, you said you had him like a wide receiver 6 or 7 into
Yeah, he
this.
was pretty low on the depth chart. He was going to be like more of a blocking receiver, an extra defensive, maybe like play up some fullback every now and then, but kind of a guy you wouldn't really see on the field unless he's like, more of a special teamer type guy.
And I think we both agree that it's not really his fault, rather the fact
No.
that because the Giants already have, especially with the draft of Malik Neighbors, that kind of pushed Hodgins down the depth chart because now you have, well, I'll
Four
get to the
receivers ahead of him, and then you got, Gunnar Rosinski, who looks like he's going to make the roster. So that's 5 spots already.
Mhm.
You're going to only carry 6 or 7 receivers. It's kind of slim pickings at that point of who's going to stay and who's going to go.
So yeah, I mean, he was cut. Maybe we'll bring him back in the practice squad unless someone else wants him. I kind of doubt, not criticizing him, but I kind of doubt that he gets picked up by another team. So I could definitely see him back in the practice squad, but we'll see. So that's one name. Another name is Allen Robinson, veteran piece. Kind of surprised he got cut.
Yeah, this one surprised me. I thought they would, especially with how young the receiving core is. Like, I think the most veteran experience is Darius Slayton, and he only has like a few years in the league. But like, you would think they would want a guy like Allen Robinson in that receiving room to kind of mentor guys like Neighbors and Hyatt and Robinson. Like, all right, this is what you expect from the NFL world. Like, even just from a veteran leadership standpoint alone, I kind of wonder why he did it. But I think this is just more of a talent decision. He didn't fit the team the way they wanted him to, and it's why burn it. We can find the veteran leadership elsewhere.
So, I mean, he was exciting to me because he was a veteran name. So I was like, oh God, we got Allen Robinson. Like, holy crap! Like, he may not be the guy that from years past, but he's someone that worth rooting for. But he's obviously I could see him back to the practice squad too. But I'm sure other teams who could definitely pick him up.
Fine. They'll be like maybe an underperforming team that's like low on receivers. Like, oh, we'll give Allen Robinson a shot.
So from a receiver standpoint, as of right now, what remains is Neighbors, Robinson, Hyatt, Slayton, McKenzie, Olszewski, and Bryce Ford Wheaton. I think to also note as well, Brian, that both Isaiah McKenzie and Olszewski are both injured. So technically, that kind of leaves New York with 5 receivers. I don't think New York, even though they just they cut both Robinson and Hodgins, that's why I kind of see him back on the practice squad. But at the same time, do you see New York keeping both McKenzie and Olszewski if they're both hurt, or who do you see making the roster? Because both of them are here for return reasons, so you're gonna have to choose one of them either way. Who do you see kind of being selected, or if maybe none of them get?
I mean, I think the Giants are going to do their due diligence. I think they're going to wait and see what other receivers are cut, because that's a big part of cut day that goes underrated. Is a lot of teams will like wait on certain people to cut and see like who's out there. Like, okay, we actually like that guy better than what we have. We'll go sign him, and that will lead to Gunnar being cut. So I think the Giants will see what kind of punt returners, kick returns are out there, but I think Olszewski has the upper hand right now because he was here last year, and the Giants kind of know what he has. He was the savior of special teams last year when we really needed that kickoff specialist. He came in and performed pretty well, so I think he's given the upper hand just because of that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was impressed with Olszewski last year. I do feel like if I had to choose, I would choose him to make the roster. McKenzie, yeah, sure, familiarity with Dable and Shane from their days with the Bills and everything, and he's a veteran piece. But I never really liked him like that. So it's like
never did anything. Like, I feel indifferent towards him. Like, he never really gave me a reason to love him, and there was nothing to hate about him, which is, I guess, the worst position you could be as a football player. Like, kind of unknown to the fan base.
That's true. Yeah, but at the end of the day, he is a veteran piece, and it's like it's honestly whatever. Like you just said, if he gets cut. So, New York also released John Giles, the receiver who was known for that hurdle against the Jets. Young guy, wishing nothing but the best. Miles Boykin, and he's someone that the Giants picked up as well from, I think, the Steelers. The Steelers. He is gone as well. So, like I said, New York, 5 healthy receivers is who they have right now, and we'll see what happens there. And if they they will likely pick up someone, in the next few days or so, and we'll discuss that in our next episode on Thursday. Tight end Lawrence Cager was cut along with other tight end Jack Stoll. So as of right now, it's going to be Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger, Chris Manhertz, who we signed this offseason, and that looks like that's who we're gonna roll with. Very surprised with the Cager cut. Your thoughts on the tight end room now, with how it looks now?
I was really surprised with Cager. Like, this is the tight end room I had going into my 53-man prediction. I like that Manhurst has more of a blocking background with us cutting the fullback, Jaco Johnson. He might slide into like that tight end fullback split where like on certain run plays he's going to line up as a fullback. But I think this tight end room, it's about Johnson and Bellinger, getting those guys developed, especially Johnson, who can be such a game wrecker for this Giants offense. It's about those two. Those are the only two guys that matter on this team. They're going to be the receiving threats. They're going to be the every down back. Maybe the Giants are running two tight end sets to get them both some action, but that's the two guys you should be concerned about for this tight end room. And Manhurts just on make sure it's an extra blocker out there.
Yeah, I think I wanted Cager to be here. As I think he was more of a solid receiving tight end, and I feel like the more weapons, obviously, the better for Daniel Jones. And I love Theo Johnson. He's a rookie, obviously. Daniel Bellinger, got hurt. Kind of has an injury history, sort of, but I was comfortable with him too. But it would have been nice to have Cager back. I always liked him. No issues with him whatsoever. Obviously, he's not starter potential, but he is a solid tight end 2, tight end 3, and likely, hopefully, back at the practice squad. We'll see. But yeah, Jack Stoll signed him from the Eagles in the free agency. Nothing more than a blocking tight end for me. So I was just it was whatever. Comment here from Kevin. Statement from FS1. What's up, Kevin? No, Kevin. Before I was sighing, not at you. I was sighing.
Kevin, did Craig Carton say that?
I hate FS1, man. I ain't gonna lie. They're a bit overreactive per se.
Yeah, they got certain guys. Like I like Craig Carton a lot because he was really big in New York for a while. But like since he's gone there, he's been up and down with his takes. Much better as a New York talk radio host, but that's like the only guy I really respect and like at FS1. Everyone else is just kind of like wannabe Stephen A. Smiths, and they don't have like the personality of a Stephen A. to get it done.
Yeah. So apparently they said Jones will be the backup by week 6. Yes, if we lose our first 2 games.
There definitely is a path for Daniel Jones to be benched at some point. If the Giants are really out of it and Jones is just struggling, like I can see Babel just pulling the plug, like, all right, we're going with DeVito because this is just not worth it anymore.
What record do the Giants have to have? Or does record even matter until you're like, okay, Jones is benched?
I definitely think record plays an aspect because even if Jones is playing bad, but the Giants are winning games, it's going to be like, why are we shaking things up here? Like, let's just kind of stay course and just see what happens. So I think by week 6, we're realistically going to have to be 1-5, 0-6 for the Giants to make that kind of a change. Be like, all right, we've seen enough. We're done. Let's try to do something to shake up this roster because this roster is talented, has a very underrated defense. The receiving core, with Neighbors and Hyatt and Wan'Dale Robinson are, very high upside guys. Like there is talent to be had on this roster. And maybe it is just that chick of a quarterback that, jolts the team into a winning streak like it happened last year with DeVito. Or maybe there's another quarterback that's going to get cut. Like maybe we trade for a Jameis Winston who's on the block right now. Like maybe we'll out and do something like that. Like we don't know, but that would be the path the Giants have to be to move on from Jones so early into the season.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me, I feel like most of the time a believer in Jones, and I do hope that he starts this entire season, that he succeeds. I feel like all Giants fans want him to succeed because we just want to see our team win.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of being cut, we talked about last episode. We talked about the Texans game. We talked about his performance during camp. It hasn't been the most promising in the world,
Nope.
and it's like based off of that, the confidence, unfortunately for me, when it comes to him, has decreased by a good margin. I understand. Oh, it's his first game. Yeah, I get it. But at the same time, dude, this is year 6, and we've waited 5 years for you. to kind of come out of your shell. Yes, you made the playoffs in 2022, but dude,
But that
that's
was Saquon Barkley
that
in the
was
run in the
Saquon.
defense.
That was
That's
a
who did
long
that.
time. It was a long time ago. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it was 10 years ago. It's ridiculous. But here's the thing. I think for me, you win your first 2 games. New York, you cannot lose to the Vikings, who, by the way, update TJ Hawkinson is going to be on the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list for those of you who don't know, and will miss the first 4 games of the season. Keep in mind, JJ McCarthy is not playing as well. So if you lose to Sam Darnold and who Josh Oliver, I believe, is the backup tight end for Minnesota. If you lose to 2 of those backup guys, yes, they have Justin Jefferson, but literally all you gotta do is just cover him and hope to God
And they might be out of Jordan Addison too, because he was just cited for driving a Lamborghini 140 miles an hour in a 55-mile-per-hour zone. He's going 90. He was going 95 over.
Not to be dark, but he's not Henry Ruggs. Okay, at least
learn nothing from Ruggs. Like, don't drive fast, guys. Don't be stupid.
Yeah,
drive like grandma to be a speed limit. No, everyone who drives a car goes, like 10 miles over. But that's fine. Don't go almost 100 miles over the speed limit. Jesus Christ, what are you doing?
Don't be Henry Ruggs. Don't be Rashee Rice.
Don't be every Georgia player ever.
Okay, the Georgia one's a bit dark. I think didn't one of them unfortunately kill someone?
One of them did, but like there's 20 of them with DUIs and speeding ticket. It's like every other week there's a new Georgia driving incident.
Go Bulldogs! No, I'm just playing.
Bulldogs, yeah, everyone out there,
stop
driving cars.
Walk, ride a bike. It helps. It saves lives.
Where do you need a car for?
Yeah, where are you going? Just ride a bike. But yeah, if you lose to Minnesota, definitely, you might as well just. I'm sorry. It would create a very negative atmosphere on this podcast if we do lose to Minnesota. You especially can't lose to Washington.
No.
If Jones loses to Washington,
one thing he has against the one positive in Dan Jones' career has been his record against Washington. If he loses to Washington and loses bad, that's a real big sign that okay, this really isn't working out. Because that was the one strength he has is he actually plays decently against Washington.
Yeah. So if he loses to them and he loses to Minnesota, who he's had success with, in the regular season and the postseason, honestly, there's no way you trust him in the next 4 weeks with Cincy and Dallas. Not in this order, but Cincy, Dallas, Philly, not Pittsburgh's.
No, Pittsburgh's week. No, Pittsburgh's week 6.
Who's week 3 then? It's Dallas, isn't it? No, I gotta check. This is why I gotta have like a poster of the schedule like right in front of me, so I don't forget. But I'm checking right now just to be safe. Browns, yeah,
Browns. Yeah, there it is.
You go 0-2. I ain't trusting you against Cleveland.
Sean is banged up right now, so.
Yeah, true. Speaking of Cleveland, you just said it. You said Winston and Huntley. Both of them are being up for trade in a way because the Browns have been fielding. They will field trade offers for both of those guys, and that means. And I heard DTR Dorian Thompson-Robinson will make the roster, so congrats to him. But more importantly, Winston or Huntley, who would you want? Because that's something I want to have a conversation with you about. Is one of those two guys is someone the Giants should have interest in, especially with the whole Drew Lock situation. And I get Tommy DeVito's there, but it wouldn't hurt to bring another quarterback in. So who would you like between the two, Huntley or Winston?
I mean, I definitely rather Jameis Winston because he's so entertaining. Like he's going to see the field at some point, and when he is on the field, he is like an actually quarterback. If he could ever figure out how to stop throwing interceptions every game, he would be like a really good quarterback in this league because he does have that like gunslinger mentality. Remember, he's the only guy with a 30-30 season. He threw 30 touchdowns, but he kind of threw 30 interceptions at the same time. So I would want Winston. He has showed he does have some capabilities. He can throw touchdowns. He can be a game leader. And he's just funny, all right? Like, everything Jameis Winston does, he's just an entertaining quarterback. So just to have someone like that on the roster, like, even if the season's bad, like, at least I got Jameis to watch. Like, I can't beat that.
And his pregame speeches are always entertaining as well. So I want to
He's
mention.
more like a vibes guy. He's a vibes guy.
I'm sorry. The whole W sucking his fingers thing. That will always. I will remember that. The whole that's a W. That's a
He eats
W.
W's, so he does.
I do want to mention a couple more offensive guys the Giants cut before we go to the defense, because I feel like defensively we have a few notable names as well. Dante Miller, Tober Miller, a great story, as we all know, from South Carolina. Had a weird route to the NFL to sign with the Giants. He was cut as well. We talked about it last week with our last episode with our 53-man roster prediction, and I had the Giants going with 3 running backs with the Singletary, Tracy, and Eric Gray. Thank you. But the Giants also keeping Jacob Johnson. That's what my prediction was, and I believe he had the same thing, if I'm not mistaken.
I had Miller.
He had Miller instead of
the fullback. Yeah, Johnson.
Okay. Well, newsflash, we were both wrong. But that's the thing, because Kevin mentioned last week in the episode that it makes sense to have New York keep 4 running backs, because usually NFL teams do keep 4 running backs, and in this case they are rolling with 3 because not only was Miller cut, but Johnson was cut as well. Definitely a bit of a weird situation, because Miller not so much, because I understand, like, okay, he was going to be the 4th guy anyways. Gray has impressed. Tracy, when healthy, has impressed as well. And Singletary is obviously the starter. So if Miller was going to join the team, it was likely going to be for special teams. Doesn't seem like he made his mark on special teams. Definitely a practice squad player, but in terms of Miller being cut, it made sense, correct, in your opinion?
It made sense depending on what the Giants do in the next couple weeks. Like, I do think they need four running backs, especially if you're going to do a running back by committee, which is kind of the direction I see it. Like, Singletary's going to get majority of the workload, but we're going to see guys like Eric Gray and Tom Tracy go into the game more often with them. We're going to see more of that. So if an injury happens, we're down to 2 running backs. That's a very dangerous situation. So I think the Giants cut Miller because they think there's going to be somebody better on the open market for them, and they'll sign them to that position. If not, I can see a position where Miller is brought back on the practice squad and maybe elevated a couple weeks into the season.
Okay. Breaking news for you. I think you'll like this one. Mm-hmm. Mama's boy, Joe Shane's grandma's favorite player, Sam Hartman, was just released by the Washington Commanders. Just to have some fun, I assume you would love him on the Giants.
Oh yeah, I love him on the Giants. Like, he would be like a Tommy DeVito type thing. Like, it's the hair. It's that's Joe Shane's grandma's favorite player. Like, he's there.
Dude, the amount of attention he would get from the media, a lot of women like him. I mean, if Joe Shane's grandma likes him, that's a good sign for a lot of NFL fans out there that are women and just people, society as a whole. But he was cut by the Commanders as of 5 minutes ago, according to Tom Pelissero. He will likely return on the practice squad if he clears. Someone just tweeted Joe Shane's grandmother is on the phone making a contract offer. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, it's Joe Shane's grandma. Like, this is Mrs. Shane for speaking on behalf of Joe Shane. Will you, whatever you take, please come to the Giants.
Oh,
Marvin get a $55 million contract from us. I don't know. Give him a blank check.
I'd like him. Honestly, was impressive at Notre Dame to, I guess, be worth a look into?
He was impressive at Notre Dame. Like, he was decent. Like, he was very impressive in the first 4 games of the year. Then as the season went on, he kind of decreased, regressed, and like kind of showed his true colors. But he is like a record holder for the ACC for most passing yards. Like, there is something there. So it wouldn't hurt the Giants to bring him in for a look.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll see if something's not going to happen today, but in our next episode, we'll see.
Days,
We'll
Wednesday,
keep
Thursday, you'll see more of the signings.
we'll keep an eye on them. But I think other than that, offensively, Joshua Kelly got cut, but nothing too notable there. I mean, he was brought in kind of as just depth since we talked about it, how Tracy went down and he was signed as depth for the preseason. So he's gone. Best of wishes to him. Would have liked him on the roster, but as a veteran name ish, but perfectly fine with that decision by New York there. Defensively, this is kind of where we get into the. Oh, real quick, I think we also cut Marcus McKeithen, 5th-round pick from a few years ago.
Yeah.
Never really worked out for us. So, defensively, Darnay Holmes was, to me, the most notable name. 4th-round pick by New York, also from a few years ago as well. UCLA guy. I was familiar with him than most because I watched him play with the Bruins, not in person, but I've seen him on film more than I would think I have. If you ask me right now, I've been like, okay, did I watch Darnay Holmes film? I actually did. That's weird. But Darnay was cut. Kind of surprising, I think, because think about it, cornerback room, Banks, Flott, Drew Phillips. I saw Phillips as that 4th guy, and well, not anymore. So he was cut, and then I feel like another corner. Yeah, Alex Johnson was cut as well. I thought he was going to make the roster.
And then Hendor was cut.
Yeah, Herndon. Yeah, that was also a notable name because I thought if Holmes was going to get cut, then that means Herndon was going to make the roster. Yeah, but he was cut too. So I guess no. This is actually the main question. What are we doing? That's 3 corners.
I think Joe Shane was not impressed with what and Dable and Shane Bowen were not impressed with what they saw from their corners. They didn't really think anyone deserved that cornerback, the outside corner job, or even be a depth corner team. So I think you're going to see them being very active in the corner market for the next couple of weeks. I think they'll reach out to Carolina about Horn. They'll look at the who's being cut. They'll go look at that. I think they'll be very active in that regard, trying to upgrade that corner room.
Holy crap. Desmond Ridder has been cut.
Really?
Holy. Why? Wait, timeout. Okay, hold on a minute. So, yes, as of 5 minutes ago, Desmond Ridder was cut.
Protocol.
No fluffing way. You got it. Then who's their backup?
Clayton Tune.
No, Ridder was not that. No way. Ridder cannot be that bad. Did he not
play?
Clayton
Tune. Let's see. Clayton Tune was a 2023 5th-round pick. Where'd he go to school?
Tulane?
Houston.
Shoot. Why?
Interesting move here, but I mean, I think that kind of smells the end to Desmond Ritter's time in the NFL. We'll see you. Lord. We'll see you in the UFL in a year,
or the New York practice squad. I'm kidding. Ridder in the preseason, 20 of 35, 225 yards, no touchdowns, no picks though. But Clayton Tune on the other hand, 35 52, 361, a touchdown and an interception.
The next franchise quarterback for the Falcons. How the mighty have fallen.
He's the next guy. He will save us.
He's the next guy. He plays just like Marcus Mariota. And who the Falcons bring in? Marcus Mariota. This is genius. Oh, it gets cut 3 years later? Oh, okay.
Up next, Michael Penix Jr., the 7th overall pick, or 8th overall pick, I should say.
8th.
And as a matter of fact, let's not get one quarterback this offseason. Let's get 2 of them. Let's get Kirk Cousins on.
Let's sign Kirk to a 4-year deal right when that rookie contract ends up. Let's do it.
There we go.
What are we doing here, guys?
And that way we can trade Michael Penix when the value's there. That's nice job, Atlanta.
Or Atlanta, you could draft someone of value to help your team right now.
Like a Dallas Turner.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter anymore. They got Judon, so
don't remind me. I was like, God, they made me look so stupid.
Great trade for the Falcons to get Matthew Judon.
They made me look so stupid. 'Cause I was like, yeah, Atlanta had the worst draft because they didn't get a pass rusher. They got Michael Penix, a quarterback who would not even play for 3 or 4 years. This is not the Jordan Love experiment. Yeah, nice job, Atlanta. You shut me up by getting Judon. You
They got an
son of
absolute game record. My poor Patriots friends are not happy right now. It's
suffering
gonna be a
right now.
long season for them.
So let's see. Eagles planning to also release John Ross, the wide receiver. Made
And
sense.
no UFL guy coming up.
And then Terrence Marshall, the wide receiver for the Panthers, was released as well. Didn't do much with Carolina. Definitely looking for a fresh start. That's what's best for him. And then Rashee Rice looks like he will be playing, not get suspended. And
Yeah, I've
then
seen that. So I guess it makes sense. I don't know. The NFL kind of just spins a wheel for their discipline. So I guess Rice got off scot free this time.
yeah, you lucky duck, Rashee. Just saying, players from the Chiefs don't get penalized, unlike some other players who've committed worse things
Yeah,
or have done the same things as you. So, oh, and then second round pick of this year for the Browns, Michael Hall Jr. is on the exempt list after a domestic violence incident. So that is nice to know.
great job, guys.
Way to go. Um, yeah, I'm just keeping track with. So as we talk about the rest of the Giants cuts and everything, as we approach the 42-minute mark, we'll keep you guys updated on other cuts around the league as we go along. All right, so defensively, yeah. So the cornerback room, it looks pretty thin at this point, as I'm looking at it right now. So with the cuts being considered, now you have Cordell Flott, Deontay Banks, Drew Phillips, Trey Hawkins the third is there still. Isaiah Simmons is listed as a corner, so that's 5 of them, and then you have Nick McLeod at 6. As of right now, the 6th corner. We'll see if New York makes any moves from here.
They better make a move. Like I'm saying, this cannot be your corner room going into week 1. There has to be, even if it's just someone else out there, some other rookie they got cut. There needs to be some sort of acquisition to show that hey, we're trying to improve his cornerback room to the best of our ability.
Because you're not trusting Sim. Okay, I love Simmons, but he's barely into
Not a
his.
corner.
No,
He's a linebacker safety combo, and he himself even says Brian Dable when they acquired him, he goes, "What do you like to do?" He goes, "I like rushing the quarterback." He goes, "That's what you're gonna do here." It's when you have him in coverage and stuff is when the issues start. He should just be a pass rusher because that's what he likes to do. That's what he's good at. So I don't get why try to change him now.
He's listed as nickel cornerback, but ain't no way he's covering the slot. Like I know he's young, but just put Drew Phillips there and just let it ride. Okay, he was a 3rd round pick for a reason. Let it ride. Don't put Simmons in there. Yes, he has size. Yes, he has speed, but he's not a corner like you just. He is a purely rusher. And I would love him to be in that situation more compared to covering other people. Look, Trey Hawkins, we saw he was great in the off season apparently this year, just like he was last year. You see what happened in week 1? He allowed a perfect passer rating of 158.3 when targeted. What does that mean? He stinks.
Yeah, pretty much. He stinks. Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah, no, this is, the problem with corners. We really they stink. That's the problem. They stink. Outside of Banks, there's not really much to confident in.
So no confidence in Hawkins. Definitely not Simmons. Darnay's gone. Herndon's gone. Alex Johnson is gone. Nick McLeod? Sure. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm literally crying inside because it's like, what the fuck are we doing? But there was a notable name though, that New York should target on the Tampa. It's on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. His name is, I think Addison Isaac is his name. I can't think of his name. I had him yesterday. I literally saw like so many names of this guy. Keenan Isaac. Yes, he had a 91 Pro Football Focus grade this preseason. But he was actually cut by Tampa because their quarterback room was pretty set, which must be fluffing nice to have, crowded cornerback room over there with the Buccaneers. So he's someone worth mentioning as well for New York. Keenan Isaac, yes, that is his name, Keenan
Yeah,
Isaac.
yeah. You look at the headlines for him. I just looked them up, and all of them are like most surprising cut, Isaac cut, great preseason yet cut. Like this, the third headline is why the Giants should go out and get Keenan Isaac.
So yeah, hopefully we'll see if the Giants can make a move there. They also, like we mentioned earlier, Caleb Farley, he was cut as well. Someone the Giants should target in that cornerback position. So other than that, though, I wouldn't really say a lot of other notable defensive names. KJ Cloyd, who led the team with 16 tackles against the Jets, he was cut, but nothing crazy there. Yeah, I think that kind of does it. Darian Beavers, who the Giants signed or drafted as well. I think he was a 5th or 6th round pick from a few years ago. He was cut. Injuries kind of took it. There was a lot of promise with him coming out of the draft, but the injuries kind of just messed everything up for him. And then Tamon Fox, who was also a notable name for New York, he was cut as well at the linebacker position. So on Thursday, we will have your full 53-man roster for the Giants. We'll discuss that as well. But as of right now, those are the names because New York still has a few more cuts to take care of. And we'll see if they sign anyone to the active roster as we are 2 weeks away. No, less than 2 weeks away from the start of the regular season.
You're 9 days. 9 days
9
away.
days. Yes, that's cool. Alrighty. Let's just go around the NFL now. I think that's enough with the Giants for now. Okay, no, real quick. Okay, Evan Neal, future wise. Oh my god. So he was hurt.
In the future as a depth guy? Yeah.
Remember the segment with the New York host where he was like, if you see him, boo him, really loud. Oh, I gotta find a clip of that. But yeah, here's the thing. I think last week there was a tweet that you retweeted about him going to center.
Yep, center and guard.
So first off, he went from being a seventh overall starting tackle to potential guard, and now a center. Just say you suck.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it says.
What can you do? You can't play right tackle. We saw what you did against the Jets. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god! It's like, bro, what can you do?
Like, sign of how far he's fallen is he's out there with the second team playing the Jets. Like, the hope was this guy is not even touching this game, and yet he's out here like fighting for his life.
You don't see first round picks, let alone a 7th overall pick, be out there. It's like, what are we doing? But that's how bad he is to the point. And we have, a starting right tackle now and right guard now, actually, that will actually be competent.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. If, God forbid, and I mean God forbid, one of our old linemen get hurt, and he goes in there and he stinks up the joint, I swear to Bob, by next offseason, he better be off this team.
Yeah. This is it. This is Evan Neal's last chance. No matter what role he's playing, if it's, a backup the entire season, which best case scenario, that means the starting 5 has played all 17 games together, is high chemistry, is being healthy. That's what we want. But in any sort of capacity, whatever Evan Neal does, it's make or break.
Mm-hmm.
If he's, going out there to play at a guard position, if he's going to go play right tackle because, Luminor went down, he needs to show at least some improvement. I'm not saying he needs to be like an Andrew Thomas type jump, which I think everyone, myself included, was saying after Evan Neal struggled his rookie year. Like, hey, don't worry. Andrew Thomas struggled. It takes a year for these guys. Give him a year. He'll be fine. I'm not saying that. I just need to show me that you can be an average lineman in this league. Do your job, 75% of the time, and just, don't let me hear your name and number constantly in penalties. That's all I need from you.
All right. He's obviously going to be in the roster this season. No way they cut him. That's going to be a major shock.
Trade him would be the only way he's not on this roster. But there's unless the Giants are trading for another like player, like a cornerback that was drafted high and it's just not working out, or a running back that doesn't not working out. That's the only way I can see him being on not on this roster anymore. But yeah, no, we're stuck with him.
Do you see any value with him, like notable value with trading
No,
Neal?
a day 3 pick.
How the mighty have fallen.
So
All
I
right.
mean, what value is there? He's a guy that struggled and's been hurt his entire career. No
Not
teams
a
give you a second round pick for that. Like you're literally buying low and hoping he can refine what he had at Bama.
then he's gonna go somewhere else and just prove us wrong. So
Good for him if he does.
yeah.
Wasn't gonna work with us.
Yeah. All right.
Guys just can't handle New York. It happens.
Yeah, I know who else might not be able to handle New York anymore. Daniel Jones, that's for sure. Jesus Christ. Okay, all right, let's go around the NFL, shall we? Tim Patrick, receiver for the Denver Broncos, he is expected to be moved on from. Denver is looking to trade him. If there's no trade candidates, he will be released. Same thing will be said for running back Samaje Perine. Also, the Buffalo Bills have released Kareem Jackson, a safety, 15-year veteran. Spent the past 5 years with Denver, signed with the Bills in July, but didn't work out, and he is off the roster as well. Other names to note that are basically a free agent: Sterling Shepard, former Giant. He was released by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but is expected to be back on the practice squad if he so chooses. Definitely don't. No, he's not. Let me not get.
We gave him the send off. We tried to force him a touchdown. It didn't work. We're done. Right? Sterling Shepard, era New York is done. We gave him the send off. Love him to death. Love him. But he's not coming back.
Right. I would love him back as a coach, just not as a player.
Oh my, yeah, coach, maybe like an analyst after Bob Carl Banks retires. Like that's where I want to see Shepard in the future.
Alrighty, running back Jonathan Brooks for the Carolina Panthers, second round pick for the Panthers to be exact. He will remain on the PUP list. Will miss the first 4 games for Carolina. Hopefully he's healthy because he is basically RB1 for the Panthers. Chargers released running back Isaiah Spiller, according to Ian Rappaport. Famous Hall of Fame game quarterback. Sorry, Brett Rypien was cut by the Chicago Bears. So we'll see what happens there. And then let's see. Oh yeah, quick Giants update. I guess we released Miles Boykin, but they want to bring him back to the practice squad.
Yeah, so I've seen that. That's not surprising.
No, yeah. Baltimore expected to leave running back Keaton Mitchell on the PUP list as well, which means he will miss the first 4 games of the season. And then let's see. Brendan Ayuk still does not have the contract he desires and is in major danger of missing week 1. Let's see. Before we get to the trades and the extension we're talking about, that is it as of right now. Charger is released quarterback Luis Perez, former XFL champion quarterback. Looks like the Chargers will have 2 quarterbacks led by Justin Herbert, obviously. And then that is it. And then we'll check what. Oh yeah, Carl Lawson was released by the Dallas Cowboys, but is expected to be back on the practice squad. We will keep you guys updated until the end of this episode, which will be approaching as we discuss a few other moves. Malik Willis was traded yesterday by the Tennessee Titans, the former 3rd-round pick of Tennessee from not too long ago. Definitely was someone worth noting because he was drafted to be the future for the Tennessee Titans behind Ryan Tannehill. Got this opportunity to show what he had when he did play. Did not impress whatsoever, which led to the Titans drafting Will Levis in the 2nd round last draft last season. He impressed enough for Tennessee to name him the starting quarterback this year. So that means Malik Willis' job was kind of in doubt anyways, especially when you have Mason Rudolph there on the roster. Willis had basically had a very long shot to make it. So he was traded to Green Bay, where he's expected to back up, you would think, Jordan Love. However, Willis is expected to back up Love and former Penn State quarterback Sean Clifford. So don't know what's gonna happen there.
Yeah,
But
his career's over. Is what that means.
would you have liked him on New York?
I mean, to take a flyer on him, I wouldn't have minded, but like that means you either have to cut Drew Lock or Tom DeVito because you can't really have 4 quarterbacks on this roster. And as much as I want to cut Drew Lock, like one bad preseason game, he is a veteran quarterback. It probably is smart to have someone with some NFL experience who has played a few seasons behind an injury-prone quarterback like Daniel Jones, and then to cut DeVito. It's just like, why are you cutting a fan favorite guy for this unproven guy? Like, just if all things go wrong, DeVito's such a safety blanket for you. Like, oh look, DeVito's back out there, yay!
Yay.
Not the record.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, I would have loved him. He's a young guy, coming from Liberty. You know, it's pretty impressive to be a third round pick from Liberty to be that impressive. And he had a pretty solid college career, but he's with the Green Bay now. Don't see him getting much playing time over there, anyways, either. So we'll see what happens there. But a fifth round pick is what Tennessee got in return. So pretty good value for a guy who hasn't made much noise in the NFL in his first few starts in the league.
Tennessee, you had to move on from him. You had to because you're fully invested in Will Levis, and to have another young quarterback that you drafted semi-high, like that's going to get into Will Levis' psyche. If I mess up a second, they could just move on from me, and there's another young quarterback ready and willing to go. Like, no, they couldn't take that chance or that gamble with him. All right, well, Nathan is frozen. I don't know if he can hear me, but I can hear him. Just reiterating the point I just made. Like, if you're like this season's all for the Titans is all about getting Will Levis to. I don't want to say they want. I mean, yes, obviously they want to get him to like a top 5 quarterback, top 10 quarterback, but Will Levis developed to me very much like a Kirk Cousins. They want to be a game manager, especially with the type of talent they have around them. They have Calvin Ridley. They have a DeAndre Hopkins. They have Tyler Boyd. That itself is a very good wide receiver core. They have Tony Pollard and Trey Spear. Like, I know Pollard struggled last year as a running back one. I know Spear isn't like, a great running back to pair Pollard with. I think Pollard needs to be a running back number 2 with like a star in front of him. Like, when he had Zeke in front of him, that was fine because Zeke took all the pressure away from Pollard, and Pollard was able to make the most of his small opportunities. I don't think he gets that type of play in Tennessee. I think he's still kind of seen as a running back 1, but he is still a talented guy, and maybe this new offense, a new sort of coaching staff can tap into that potential we saw in Dallas and get it back out there. But with all the talent on the roster, Will Levis doesn't need to be a top 10 quarterback. He just needs to be able to get the ball to these guys. So that's all you want him to do. Just clear your mind and play this style of quarterback that you have to play. Don't go out there and try to impress everybody, because there's going to be an expectation, especially in the fan base, that if Will Levis comes out and struggles and you have a young quarterback like a Malik Willis sitting right behind him, the chance for Malik Willis are going to be strong and fast. Okay, they're going to be pretty quickly, because he is still someone that has talent in Tennessee's eyes. Like, it wasn't long ago we were saying that Malik Willis is going to be the future starter of the Tennessee Titans. If Will Levis had struggled with Willis on the roster, you could see it. I could see a very big portion of Titans fans flipping on him, being like, you know what? Let's see what Malik Willis has. Maybe we were right from the get-go and right to trust this guy over someone that puts mayo in his coffee. And I know, like, that's not. I know it's more of like a joke with Levis, but it's still something with his psyche that we need to make sure that the fan base won't turn on you, and we're showing you that we have your full respect. Nathan's back.
Hello. Yeah, nice job, Wi-Fi. Way to go, Xfinity. You suck. I hate Xfinity. You would think Xfinity would be good, but I guess not.
The commercials make it seem nice.
You know what commercial is nice? The T-Mobile one. I got a home internet from T-Mobile.
Oh, the guys from Scrubs, yeah.
That one's a good one. What are you talking about though? I didn't hear anything because
Will
my thing got
Levis, why getting rid of Malik Willis is the best for Levis' psyche.
Oh yeah, because if you have to compete with Mason Rudolph, like you're gonna be just fine. You're gonna be just fine. Yeah. Were you finishing your point, or do you have more to say?
Yeah, I'm pretty much done with it. Yeah, I'm done.
Cool. We talked about John Ross earlier, and that's because Jahan Dotson was traded from Washington to the Eagles. So way to, nice job there. I think we discussed it a little bit last week, but it seems clear that Eagles will roll with AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jahan Dotson as their top 3 receivers. So pretty.
Yeah.
That Eagles offense just continues
It's
to
scary.
get more. Yeah.
It's scary.
This is why we need corners, because we can't.
But did you see the report? The report that Jalen Hurts is scared of blitzes. There's a report that if you look at Jalen Hurts, he not able to pick up blitzes in the snap, and then when it happens, he panics and makes mistakes. That's why Jason Kelce was so huge, because he could pick up on the blitz and point it out. Now that he's not there, he needs someone to do that for him. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, there's a lot of stuff. This Eagles team is not as secure as everyone thinks they are. Like, they're still going to be really good and make the playoffs, don't get me wrong, but you could start seeing some cracks here this season.
Interesting. Well, maybe there's something worth noting. Just send the dogs. Thibodeau, Burns, Dexter, Ojulari, Simmons. Send the dogs. Couple more updates. Sean Clifford was released. We just talked about how, Jordan Love, Malik Willis is going to back up Sean Clifford and Jordan Love. Just wrong. The Packers just released Sean Clifford. So
which makes sense. You're going to trade for a quarterback. The backup's gone.
Yeah. And let's see. Kendrick Bourne, Patriots receiver, will be placed on the PUP list. Will miss the 4 games. And the Packers released another quarterback. Rookie Michael Pratt from Tulane is on the market.
Watch out for the Jets for that guy. The Jets are really interested in him. I know they have Jordan Travis in Houston right now, but he might be a better fit.
No, that's our guy. We want Michael Pratt.
Kidding.
Okay. I want Michael Pratt. I mean, he's not bad.
Oh, no, he wasn't bad.
Bailey Zappi was cut too from the Patriots.
Surprising. Yeah. It's for Jacoby Brissett until Drake May gets out there.
May better start week 1. I'm just saying. You start Brissett.
Well, did you see the reports that Gerard Mayo has no idea how to talk to the media?
He sucks.
Patriots fans are really like, wait a minute, this is what a bad coach looks like? Like, you would think for a guy that is like supposed to be like a disciple of Belichick, at the very least, he would like see how Bill talked to the media, like just try to copy that. Contradicts himself on a daily basis. Like, I think he told the media Brissett was the starter no matter what, and then like the next morning, like not even 12 hours later, he was on WEEI, the Boston sports radio, talking about how Drake May had a much better preseason and camp than Jacoby Brissett. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Like, why say that? Now the fans gonna want May to start.
That we are in year 1 AB after Belichick. Oh,
brutal. And you got the refs making fun of the Patriots offensive line. Like, Jesus. You see that clip?
False start again, or once again. Number
illegal formation once again, and then I forgot who it was, but yeah. Like, come on, when the refs are saying stuff like that, like,
that's when you know.
Fan, like, I'm like, oh my god.
Oh man, I just the Patriots. Hey, you know what? For those who are happy the Patriots are doing bad after what they've gone through for so many. Sorry, the Commanders renamed their stadium. How about rename the team?
I don't think we're seeing that for a while.
The Commanders have named or have reached a deal with an 8-year deal with a bank called Northwest Federal Credit Union. Shout out to that bank. No idea who they are, obviously. The stadium will be now called Northwest Stadium, no longer FedEx Field.
Why does Kanye's kid get a stadium named after him?
Nice. Nice.
You know, she does one really crappy version of Lion King, and now she gets standing after her. Like, what are we doing here?
Don't start. Please don't do it. That was the most. Oh my god. I'll find a clip. That was the worst performance by a celebrity kid. Tell me you're in. What's the word? Tell me.
Nepotism.
Yeah, there you
You're a
go.
nepotism hire without telling me? Yeah, that performance. And
What's
hey, she's young. She still has a lot of work to do ahead of her. She does come from famous parents, so like, and with money, so she'll get the lessons she needs. But like, let's not, this is basically like the dad on the sidelines yelling at his little leaguer because he thinks he's going to be a pro baseball player. Like, no, your kid's just not good enough right now. Like, maybe with some training she'll be good, but like, don't throw her right now on a time play production to be embarrass herself in front of the entire world, because that's all she'll be known for now. Is remember when Northwest went and like botched just can't wait to be king.
I can't. I keep thinking of her singing. She's literally just freaking yelling, dude. The song.
Yeah, like loud is not good.
No, sometimes like keeping it down and then like focusing more on the note, I guess is what you call it, of the Look, I'm not saying I could sing it better.
Oh no, I would be much worse. I would be 10 times worse.
Try it. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's okay. You don't have to.
I'm not going on stage and singing it in front of people.
In the shower, yes. In front of people, no. So that's yeah. We'll just leave it at that. So two more things from Dallas. Dalvin Cook visited the Cowboys. It seems like they like washed quarterbacks, I guess. I mean, washed running backs, I guess. Ezekiel Elliott.
Hey. No one can do the job better than Jerry Jones. I said that yesterday. No one can do the job better than me. Right, except for everybody else. You're an egotistical, out of touch maniac. Step down.
They need to hire a
GM.
GM.
I want you to be, general manager for life. But if I'm going to look objectively, the Dallas Cowboys will not win a Super Bowl or will not win anything relatively until Jerry Jones is out of day-to-day operations. Whether he steps down or he, unfortunately passes away, the Cowboys do nothing until Jerry Jones is not making day-to-day decisions.
There's one solution: just hire Deion Sanders. I'm just playing. The Cowboys
lose to North Dakota State on Saturday, or not win by more than 10. Thursday.
Got it. I was like, they play Saturday. I was like, crap, I gotta keep an eye on that one. Got it. Thank you for that. Which you have, not to discuss betting too much, because that's not what we usually do, but just because I know you mentioned your 3-0 slip on Saturday or this past weekend. Who do you have? Colorado or North Dakota State?
I have North Dakota State plus 10. I think North Dakota State will either win or lose by less than 10 points. I don't trust Deion. Sorry, I don't trust Colorado. I think they're really overrated.
So, Shadur Sanders, Travis Hunter,
fine players.
Jimmy Horn, the prospects they brought in.
They went 4-8 last year.
Yeah, but
North Dakota State is like the king of the FCS. They're like the Alabama of the FCS. It's going to be a very hard-fought game between the two of them.
But there's a reason this. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to this, but the spread is 10 for a reason.
I think that's a lot of. But I think that's a lot of points. Colorado's overrated, so they might just be overrating them. Colorado win total is 5.5 this year, right? They're not expected to win that much.
Remind me to come back to this clip so I can clip this and then final score: North Dakota State 45, Colorado 16, and then I'll be like, oh,
yeah. I'll be right again and not get my props for it.
Exactly. There you go. I'll give you the proper props that you deserve it when that happens. Update Niners on Trent Williams. It looks like he wants to be paid a lot of money because Trent Williams is not playing around. Basically, he wants to get paid. Blah blah blah. He has 3 years left on his contract though. But apparently, because with the whole Andrew Thomas, Laramie Tunsil, and Penei Sewell being paid more than him, he wants to be paid like he's the best left tackle. So Niners have some issues there. Yeah, with that. So, oof. In New Orleans, by the way, Kendra Miller was placed on the IR list by the Saints. KJ Hamler was waived by the Buffalo Bills. And then finally, before we go, we end things here. CeeDee Lamb was extended by the Dallas Cowboys. Got paid. Well deserved. Any thoughts on that, buddy?
You know, it's it's one of those things where thank God it got done, especially before fantasy drafts happen, so I can actually pick him and like be comfortable with him. But this is something that should have been done a long time ago. It's just another knock on why Jerry Jones is really not fit to be a general manager anymore. This should have been knocked out before the offseason even began. The fact that we had to sit here 9 days before the week one and like question if CeeDee Lamb should be on the sidelines or not is a really bad job by Jerry Jones. And not close to Dak Prescott, not close to Parsons. Like, what are we doing here, Dallas? These are important players you got to sign.
4 years, $136 million deal. That makes him the second highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. This includes a $38 million signing bonus, the largest ever to be given to a wide receiver. However, the APY does not look as great because taxes in Dallas, you are a son of a gun. I believe he'll only get $16 million per year because of that tax. So he goes from, do the math. So 4 years, 136. Come on, Nate, do the math. Why am I using a calculator? I don't know, but it's because we are 34 million. He went from 34 million per year to about 16 million or 16 to 18 million per year due to taxes. So nice job, Texas. You suck. But yeah.
Political quote: taxes are the worst thing ever. That's my statement for the year.
I remember when I got my paycheck recently for work, I was like, dang, I thought I worked a lot.
Oh yeah, you see the little area. Like I know when I used to work at a grocery store, in a pie chart of your paycheck, and you can see all the money you got, and then there was a little blue little area right here that took up like 10%, and it was like money that was gone. I'm like, I would like that $70 back. Like, it's not gonna do much, but like, I worked pretty hard for that.
I'm like, bro, I earned that. Give me that money. Don't talk about no darn taxes. But yeah, like at the end of the day, that's what living life in our respective cities is about, man. Me in Cali, you in Connecticut. Unfortunately, that's how we have to go through, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. All right, last update on news. Irv Smith, tight end for the Chiefs, was released by Adam Schefter. And then, yep, that will do it. Okay, don't know if I'm not sure if y'all hear a noise outside, but my apologies, I have no idea what that is. Okay, I think that will do it. There's no other cuts unless we get something in the next 30 seconds. I think we should be all good. But thank you guys for watching and listening to another episode of 30 Podcast. We went through a lot of cuts today, a lot of unfortunate cuts by the Giants, but hey, whatever, like I said at the beginning, I trust in Joe Shane. He's going to make the right moves. And if he thinks these cuts are worth it, then so be it. But we'll see the finalized roster, 53-man roster for the Giants, hopefully on Thursday when we record next. Likely same time, I think, Brian, around noon this time. We'll talk about it off air in terms of time. But we appreciate you guys for watching and listening. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nate Productions, for more. I promise there will be clips this week from this episode, a lot of notable ones, including, well, Brian's joke with Northwest.
Which one? Oh, Northwest.
Which one? You had some bangers these last 20 minutes, buddy, I tell you. But yeah, we'll release clips on there in our social media. Follow us at 30 Pod on Instagram. And then, subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all that fun stuff. So I'm Nate. That's Brian. Thank you guys so much again from the bottom of our hearts. We'll see you for episode 19 later this week.